Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Amma ba'd, ahabati fillah, assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, accepts our good and forgives our evil, blesses us all with the sawab, with the truth. Ahabati fillah, a question was asked. I'm a revert and I need some advice. I've sinned a lot and now I feel a sense of alienation from Allah. And my heart is dead, hardened, and darkened from sinning. And recently my iman has decreased significantly. I know that I can't complain and question why I'm feeling like this, because I indeed abandoned the remembrance of Allah and earned the anger of Allah for all the sinning and not fulfilling my duties as a Muslim and taking guidance from Allah for granted. I want to turn back to Allah, but due to the condition of my heart, it is hard for me to do so. And it doesn't help that I already suffer from waswas, from the whisperings of the shaitan, or the whisperings of one's nafs, and OCD. First and foremost, ahabati fillah, I advise with not despairing at the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah tabarak wa ta'ala commands us in the Quran, taqnatu min rahmatillah. Do not despair at the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you realize and actualize that, that's an actualization of Tawheed, meaning that you know that your Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala still forgives. You know that your Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala can still save you. You know that Allah azza wa jal can rescue you from the chains of sin and wickedness, and that you do not despair and give up on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that is first and foremost a means of disbelief, meaning that when a person totally despairs at the mercy of Allah, they just give up and abandon Allah, then they've abandoned Islam. So that's very important to know and understand that you do not want to give up on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, it's very important to know and understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored you. One, with Islam. Two, the fact that you want to cling to Islam, that you still want to be, you still want righteousness. You're still striving, because you could easily just give it up. So many people, when they get to that state of their hearts becoming hard, they abandon the community. They abandon even asking. They abandon even searching. The fact that you search, the fact that you quest for an answer, for some relief, for some sort of guidance. And remember, guidance is of two types. There's guidance, hidayah to irshad wa hidayah to tawfiq. Hidayah to irshad, meaning the hidayah that you're seeking right now. You're seeking a type of guidance by asking such a question to myself. You're asking, what can I do? Which way can I go? How can I save myself? That is hidayah to irshad, and we're trying to give you some sort of advice to get you in the right direction. The second type of hidayah, which is the one you need, is that Allah gives you the tawfiq, the success in actually accepting the guidance, practicing it, or finding it wherever it is to be found, and being back on righteousness. And that only comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the fact that you're questing and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this is a sign of goodness. And it's a sign that you are not a hypocrite. And it's a sign that you are not a disbeliever, but rather you may be in a state of weakness, but you're going in the right direction. That's the first aspect of your healing, is that you acknowledge your sinfulness. You acknowledge. The Prophet ﷺ said, Kullu ibn Adam khata wa khayran khata'ina tawwabun. All the children of Adam commit sins and make mistakes. And the best of those who sin and make mistakes are those who repent, and they repent often. So that means also a person who commits a sin and then they repent, and then they commit a sin again and they repent. This is not playing with the deen. Meaning, as long as they truly repented, if they truly repented, they did leave that sin, even if it only lasted 1 hour. But they truly did it in their heart. They truly felt sorrow, and they truly were determined, but something severe or something may have knocked them off the path. Okay? So it's very important to know that you're going in the right direction. The last point and aspect of the question that we'll strive our best to deal with, and that is the issue of having waswas. You know, being fickle in your decisions, and fickle and quick changing when it comes to your determination. So This is something that we all have to battle in trying to purify our intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and fight off and combat waswas of the shaitan, meaning the whisperings of the shaitan, or the whisperings of man and jinn, and the whisperings of our own wicked selves that incline us towards evil, or incline us towards compromising our deen, or whatever the way in which the shaitan whispers to you. And that can be in the situation that was described for us in the issue of salat, of taking hours and hours to do salat. Now, there's a couple of things going on there. Perhaps there's the whispering of the shaitan. Perhaps there's sihr, witchcraft. Perhaps there is a jinn possession. There could be all kind of things. There could be the evil eye. There could be many things that is troubling you and causing you harm. So I would also advise you with striving to recite the Quran as much as possible. Perhaps seek someone else to recite over you as well, any of the Quran, but there are special surahs like the Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Surah Al-Fatiha, Qul A'udhu bi Rabbil Falaq, Qul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas. These surahs, in order to seek refuge in Allah from mankind and jinn, and of course the whisperings of the shaitan. Also, there are other types of ruqya as well, and I would advise you to search that out. Then when it comes to the OCD, and especially severe impairment, those things are not things your imam, your sheikh, your teacher are going to be able to address. Those are issues of mental health. Those are issues that you would need to go to a mental health professional if you're suffering from this. I don't know if they give medication. I don't know the various ways that they treat you in this, but those are issues that you will have to deal with in other ways. I also advise you to use all the Sharia medications as well, meaning the means of cure. For example, black seed oil. For example, Zamzam water. All the good things, Qist al-Hind, Qist al-Bahari, things like this, you can search up and, use those medications in general for the physical and mental and spiritual cure in that sense. But your spiritual cure primarily is going to come from the Quran and dua that the Prophet ﷺ did. And so I would advise you also with getting Husnul Muslim. And not to say, well, I did all that. Oh, I did that 2 years ago. And I'm still, well, you've got to keep going. You've got to keep going until they put you in the grave. That's one. Secondly, you also have to realize that sometimes we're not doing things right. Sometimes, yeah, you have Husnul Muslim. You're not reading it. You have the Quran. It has dust on it. Okay, this is the reality of many of us, in that we are really not taking the cures that are right under our own roofs or in our masajid. And we're not making the effort we need to. We say we make an effort, but really what we do is stress. And a beautiful question was asked to one of our sheikhs, Sheikh Abdul Razak al-Badr, Hafidhullah Ta'ala. He's one of our mashayikh in Medina. And someone asked him about, or he mentioned that some of the youth ask about having fitna, having problems with lowering their gaze. They're like, Sheikh, I can't. It's so hard on me, the women, and I see them in the marketplace and stuff. And the Sheikh answered, basically saying that your problem is not that. Your problem is what you're doing at home. You're watching so much filth and so much other things. So you watch probably pornography at night, and then you think you're going to lower your gaze in the day. It just doesn't equate. Your hearts become hardened. Your eyes become attached to that which is sinful. And that is the sabil, the way of destruction. So my advice, going back to the questioner, is that those are the pieces of advice I can offer you. Seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make sincere effort, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you and assist you in your success. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad.